everyone, welcome back to the OmogeMuRa YouTube channel. If you do not know who I am, or if this is your first time here, my name is Deola Adebiyi and I am the blogger slash vlogger behind the OmogeMuRa blog and YouTube channel. Welcome to today's video. Today's video is going to be a story time and I'm going to be telling you guys about my life when I lived in Saudi Arabia. Yeah, I lived in Saudi Arabia for 12 years. This isn't supposed to be the video going up today. The video that was actually supposed to go up today was supposed to be a tutorial of this look right here, but I had filmed the video and I did not look at the footage immediately. I looked at the footage when I was ready to edit, and I don't know why I did that, because usually every time I film, every clip I film, I look at it and I make sure it's in focus, it's alright. But for some weird reason that day I did not look at the footage and I just assumed that everything was okay. So when it was time for me to edit, which was last night around 10 p.m, I looked at the footage and I realized that one clip, a whole 10-minute clip, was completely out of focus. And I decided that, you know what, I'm gonna have to put something else up because I did not want to wear makeup today. I've been trying my best not to wear makeup every single day, or unless I really need to, and that is because my skin is kind of acting up. I did a poll on Twitter about what storytime topic you guys would like to see, and the three options were my life in Saudi Arabia, why I hated secondary school, and working in media in Lagos. My life in Saudi Arabia got 56% of the vote, so that is the video I'm doing right now. Before we get started, or even before you leave, like, I know there's some people that don't like watching this. They watch the intro and they're like, oh, this is not for me. But please do me a favor and subscribe to the OmogeMuRa YouTube channel with that button right there. I would really appreciate it. I'm trying to get my channel up to 1,000 subscribers before the end of July. You can also click on the notification bell right down there and it'll give you notifications for whenever I upload a new video. So without wasting much of your time, let's get started in today's video. Story. Once upon a time, this girl that you're looking at lived in Saudi Arabia. If you don't know where Saudi Arabia is, or if you've not been really paying attention to the news, because Saudi Arabia recently just came into the news for like a bunch of stuff. Saudi Arabia is a huge country in the Middle East, but it's in Asia. So I lived in Asia slash the Middle East for about 12 years of my life. I have a bunch of questions that I wrote down because when I figured out this was what I was going to be talking about, I wrote down 5 questions that I was always asked whenever I told anybody I lived in Saudi Arabia. So I'm going to be answering these questions because these are like the most common questions I get. So the first question I always get, like the first question is usually how. And when I say, what do you mean how? Like, how did I get there, or how did it happen, or, you know, what's the story? Well, it's all based around my dad. So my dad is an investment banker slash portfolio manager. He works mostly in the stock market and he has kind of worked around the world. He loves to travel, or he used to love to travel. Now he's just a homebody because he's retired right now. He used to love to travel, so he used to work for the UN. He got his master's, his PhD in America. He got his master's in the UK. Like, my dad just liked to travel a lot. So he got a job in Saudi Arabia with the Islamic Development Bank, which is a bank, Jeddah. I lived in Jeddah, which is not the capital. Is Jeddah the capital? Yes, the capital of Saudi Arabia is actually Riyadh. Jeddah is just like the sea city. It's a seaside city and it's right next to the Red Sea. Fun fact, I have swum in the Red Sea before. So my dad worked in Saudi Arabia and came home to Nigeria for holidays or for business trips. So when he came to Nigeria, he met my mom, they fell in love, and they had me. So my dad gave my mom the decision, like, oh, do you want to come and live with me, or do you want me to set you up here in Nigeria? And she was like, no, she wants to come with me and live with him in Saudi Arabia. So that's actually how I got there. The second question I always get is, how was life there? I'm thankful to God that I grew up privileged. So my father worked for the bank, and the bank had an estate, but in Saudi Arabia we call them compound. So I lived in the Adebiyi compound, and it's very similar to when your dad, like here in Nigeria, like when your dad works for NNPC, you live in NNPC estate. You know, your dad works for Chevron, you live in Chevron estate. So we lived in the Adebiyi compound, and I'm so grateful that I grew up with a very wonderful mix of people, because I didn't really grow up with Saudi Arabian people, or Saudis, sorry, that's the correct word. I grew up with Pakistanis, Indians, people from Sudan. I never met anyone that was Nigerian that works there. I was the only Nigerian there. I grew up with a whole bunch of people from different nationalities, which is what has helped me in my life, like understanding other people and getting to know people. Because when you grow up in such a multicultural, society, you tend to, like, as you grow up, you tend to have a much more open mind, and you're exposed to different cultures and different religions, like that. Life there was pretty easy, pretty cool. I went to an all-girls school, even though there was a mixed schools. My mom wanted us to go to all girls or all boys school. I don't know why. And the name of my school was Manarat. I went to Manara Jeddah. Or is it Manara Girls Jeddah? Oh no, Manara Jeddah Girls School. I rode bikes. I had a skateboard. I learned how to swim. When I look back and think about like the life I lived, I'm like very, very grateful that I grew up the way I grew up. My mom made sure that we still had a semblance of a Nigerian upbringing. She made us eat pounded yam, amala, gari. People think that when they talk about Saudi Arabia, it's this secluded country that no Americanness or no globalization has come to Saudi Arabia. But if you know your history, you know that Saudi Arabia and America are allies, and there's even like a bunch of issues that have to do with that. Like, other Arab countries kind of don't like Saudi Arabia because Saudi Arabia is an ally of the US. Because Saudi Arabia and US were allies, I had a very kind of American upbringing. I mean, we went to McDonald's, we went to the mall, there are malls there. It was very okay, apart from the fact that I lived in a very Muslim country and we had Sharia law. Which leads me to my next question, which is, how did I deal with Sharia law? So because I grew up the way I grew up, Sharia law wasn't really an issue for me until I reached the 6th grade, which is JS1. By JS1, you have to wear an abaya and a hijab to school, and my mother hated it. She hated it so much. She made sure that whatever abaya she wore and the abaya I wore was not black. She hated black. She hated wearing black. So my abaya, my first abaya when I got to grade school, when I got to grade 6, which is JS1, was purple and it had stars at the bottom. I remember standing out in a sea of black. Like, all my classmates around me were all wearing black, and I was the one with the purple abaya. I never really came in contact with Sharia law per se. Like, whenever we would drive out and we would see beggars on the road with one hand, my mom would say, this is what happens when you steal in this country, because Sharia law, according to Sharia law, if you steal, they cut off your hand. If you steal the second time, they cut off your second hand. And if you steal the third time, they kill you. That's what my mother told me, and I think that's the truth. You guys can correct me in the comment section below. The closest I've ever encountered to, like, being arrested or anything was when me and my mother went to the market, and there's like a Muslim police that was in the market that day, and they were raiding stores. So any store that was selling colorful clothing or colorful abayas was raided, and my mother came to the market to buy something. I don't remember what it was, but yeah, they raided the store that we were at, and we didn't get arrested because, I thank God, because even though we were wearing like colorful abayas, my mom was wearing red, I was wearing my purple abaya, they didn't arrest us or anything, even though they had arrested other women and other men as well. Another story, an interesting story I can tell you guys, is that I remember when my whole family, we were driving somewhere. I don't know where we were driving to. And I remember looking out the window and seeing a beautiful mosque. The mosques in Saudi Arabia are gorgeous. Like, they are so beautiful that I just can't even deal. So I remember looking out the window and seeing this mosque and seeing a progression of people walking out of the back. And my mother told me, don't look there, don't look there, don't look there. And I wondered why, but I still looked because, I mean, I'm stubborn. So I looked and I saw that they made this guy kneel down and face the sunset. And then my mother made me literally turn around. And then I realized that they were about to execute that guy. Another common question I get is, do I speak Arabic? La. What I just said right there was no. I don't speak Arabic because I was terrible at Arabic, and I kind of regret it because I really, really, really wish I had paid attention in class. Like in my head, I would already tell, oh, I don't need Arabic. I don't really care. I know one insult, and that is majnuna, which means crazy. I know how to say girl, which is binti. Yeah. I know how to say pen, which is kalam. And I know how to say how are you, which is kaifa halakum. And the reply to that is alhamdulillah, which means we thank God. I do know a couple of letters and a couple of numbers. So I know numbers wahid ithnin talata arba hamsa sitta. That's where it stops. And I know one letter, which is alif, which is the first letter. So my Arabic is terrible. I really wish I could go back and learn Arabic. Like, I really regret, because apparently when you're younger it's easier for you to learn languages. So I really regret not paying attention in class and not learning Arabic. So this is another question I get. Well, my brother gets this question more because he was born there. The question I'm talking about is, are we citizens? And no, we are not citizens of Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia has a very, very strict citizenship program. There are two ways you can be a citizen. One, you can only be a citizen if your father was a citizen of Saudi Arabia. And two, you have to invest a certain amount of money in a Saudi Arabian business.
So I was doing research for this portion of the video, and I realized that what I was saying was completely wrong. There are so many points and rules and stuff before you can become a citizen of Saudi Arabia. So I am just going to put a link to the Wikipedia page that I found with the information. You don't need to invest in a Saudi Arabian business to become a Saudi Arabian citizen, but it is very, very hard according to the information that I found online.
They don't want anybody to be a citizen of Saudi Arabia. Like, literally, they only want citizens of Saudi Arabia, like the original Saudi people, to be citizens. I can't stand up and say, oh, yo, I lived here for 12 years. Give it to me. So, fun fact, I used to lie to people in secondary school that my brother was a citizen of Saudi Arabia and he had a yellow passport, which was a complete lie. I even don't know what the original color is. Like, I would say that because a lot of people thought that, oh, citizenship, the way citizenship in America is the same way it is in Saudi Arabia, which is completely far from the truth. And the last question I always get is, why did I come back to Nigeria? And do I ever want to go back? So the reason why we came back is because my dad left his job in Saudi Arabia and got a new job working at OPEC in Austria. So the original plan was for us to move to Austria with him, but my mother was like, she has spent too much time outside of the country, she misses her family and stuff. So me, my brother, and my mom moved back to Nigeria. Do I ever want to go back? Yes. I kind of miss it. I mean, I think the nostalgia of being young, and life was easy then. I was a child, I didn't have bills to worry about. Back then it was wake up, go to school, do your homework, live your life. But I really want to go back because I want to see if where I lived, where I grew up, everything is the same way or if it's a bit different. I want to know how the swimming pool I used to live next to is still there. I want to know how the basketball court looks like. I want to know how the garden looks like. I want to know how the former apartment that my family used to live in looks like. I just want to go back and see what has changed, what is new. And I'm hoping that I can, get to a point in my career that I can afford to go back to Saudi Arabia and just chill for like 1 or 2 days, not do anything much. I would like to go back just to check it out and see how shit is right now. So that is it for today's video. It's different, it's not beauty fashion related, it's more like personal related. Do let me know if you like this kind of videos. Let me know if you want me to do another story time video in the comment section below. If you have any more questions about me or my life in Saudi Arabia, if there's something I didn't cover, do let me know in the comment section below and I'll answer all your questions there. Please do not forget to subscribe to the OmogeMuRa YouTube channel. All my social media handles / links are in the comment section below, so come connect with me. I'm hilarious on Twitter, if I do say so myself, and I'm really active on all my platforms. So add me up, follow me, and I'll follow you back. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really, really appreciate it, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!